Hey everyone, so great to see you. It's Judy from Coffee, Cookies, and Books. And what we're doing today is we're going to talk about the 5 books that I read in the first round of Summer Chaos. Okay, so we've got 5 books to talk about. I'm not going to waste a lot of time. We just want to review these 5. Because I am on to reading the next batch that were part of round 2. And that TBR just went up not that long ago. But quickly, just one book I just wanted to mention and get it out of the way. And that was a DNF from my Love It or Lose It list. I figured I would include it in this. To me, it makes most sense to include it. So that was Pucked by Helena Hunting. Didn't like this book. I can't remember how much I read. I think about 60, 70 pages. Might even have gotten, about 70 pages in. And it's just not for me. It's a sports hockey romance, and the 2 characters come off very young, even though he's a professional hockey player in the NHL. But still, they came off like they were, just way too young. Not for me. Okay. I mean, literally everything right from the beginning is just done nothing but talk about sex. Okay. Not for me. So I'm going to put this on my unhaul and just going to get rid of it. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of get that one out of the way, and then that way don't need to talk about it. Okay. So first book I read was The Blonde Identity by Ali Carter. So this is part of a 2-book series, and this is book 1, and it's about 2 twin sisters, okay? Now, one of them is a spy, and one of them is not a spy. And this one is about the book of the one that is not a spy. However, they think she is. These guys. So what happens is, right at the very beginning of the book, her name is Zoe, and Zoe wakes up in the snow, laying down, like she's been knocked out in Paris, France. She has no idea how she got there. She can't remember who she is. And this guy rides up on a motorcycle and is talking to her, and she has no idea what he's talking about, okay? And he thinks she's someone else. And then all of a sudden, these other guys drive up and start shooting at them. So he ends up saving her, even though he really doesn't want to, because he thinks she's someone else, because she looks like her twin sister. Get where I'm going with this whole thing? Okay? And the other guys that were chasing them are the Russian mob, and the Russian mob is after something that they think she's got because they think she's her sister. It is just chaos from the beginning to the end of the book. I mean, like almost right to the end. It was really good. I really loved it. I loved the whole twins thing. They're identical twins. Now, the only thing is that the sister that is the spy, she's very tough, she's very brash, and she thinks that Zoe is weak because Zoe, from the time that when they were born, Zoe had a heart condition. She's actually had a full heart transplant, okay? So, but Zoe is doing her best to hang on by a thread in this book. But she's smart, okay? And the thing is, she writes and reads, and she reads a lot of thriller, mystery, romance novels, like, dark romance. So it comes through, and it was really good. What did I give it? I gave it 4.5. So it was pretty close to perfect. I think the only reason I docked it just a little bit is because some of the things were a bit outlandish, but they were good. And the thing is that Zoe's personality, she was a hoot. Okay, like this is comedy, romantic comedy, but it had that thrilling mystery suspense part thrown in, and the two work together perfectly in this book. Okay, really, really well. Really loved it. Highly recommend it. So this, yeah, it was just really good. I very much liked this one. So I think I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads because, you don't have the half-star rating. So, it was good enough for me to give it 5 stars on Goodreads. But I did give it 4.5 my own rating just because there were certain points of it you just kind of think, yeah, like there's no way, even though it was good, yeah, there was no way she would do some of the things she did. All right, the next one I read was The Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst. And I enjoyed this one as well. What did I give this one? I gave this one 4 stars. So, and the reason I knocked it down, I was just a little bit slow in certain parts of it. And it just didn't read like a 5-star read. Like it did not equal this, but it shouldn't. It's a cozy, okay? And it's very cozy. And I thought it was interesting how the magic was built into it. So what you have is you have Kayla, and she is basically your main character. And then your secondary main character is not a person. It is a spider plant called Cass. And he's like her sidekick, okay? And they escape the where they live because it's basically there's a revolution going on, and the library where she works and she takes care of, they have been moving the books down into like a small ship-like thing for them to take off and get out of there because the library is going to burn down. So they take what they can, which is not much. I mean, Kayla is very Kyla. Is it Keela? Kyla? I'm not exactly sure how her name is pronounced. I guess you could pronounce it however you like in your head, right? But she's very broken-hearted by the fact that they had to leave so much behind to be destroyed. But what they do is they set sail in their boat and they end up back on the island that she came from. So it was where she was born, and her parents' house is still there. It's not in great shape, but it's still there. And the thing is that because of what was happening with the Empire, there was no magic on the island anymore. So the villagers has become fairly poor. They're having a hard time feeding themselves. They're having a hard time growing anything because typically what would happen is a sorcerer would come around and would bless the place, okay? So then things would grow and well, that hadn't happened because basically the emperor basically said, you don't need it. We're gonna hog all the resources, right? So she sets out to see if she can help because one of the things that she brought with her were spell books. And it all kind of ping-pongs around from there. It's kind of crazy how it ping-pongs around. But in all of that, she meets this fellow by the name of Lakin, and he knew her parents. He actually grew up with her when she was very young before her parents moved them to the city, right? And so he knew her. And he was very sweet. He trained seahorses type, these fantasy, they're horses, but they live in the sea. And he trained them. And the thing was that they were also losing their blessing. It was very sad, a little. But then what happened in the end, it all kind of comes together. But she just manages to the way she does and goes about it, it's like she just gets herself into bigger messes. She kind of goes through it. So, but it was really good. I quite liked it. And Kaz is comic relief. He's funny. Okay. I'm saying he. That's the plant. Okay. Your spider plant. Very funny. And then by mistake, she ends up creating another little plant that follows him around everywhere. And they have a chicken that's like a pet. And, yeah. It was good. So 4 stars. I really did enjoy it. I do have the next one in the series, so I would be definitely going to be interested in reading the second one because I did enjoy that one. All right, so next is The Blonde Who Came In From the Cold, which is the next book after The Blonde Identity. So this is the twin sister who is the spy. Okay, and in this particular one, this is 2 CIA agents who have to end up joining forces, but they're 2 CIA agents who have never really liked each other, apparently. Okay, now I gave this one 4 stars, and the reason I gave this one 4 stars was because it did a past-present timeline. But I felt that the timeline spent too much time in the past and not enough in the future. Okay? And then when she tied it all up in a bow at the end, I felt that that future part happened too fast. So it was one of those ones where I felt, yes, okay, you could build that relationship between these two because everything centered around these two, okay? And you could build that relationship and tension between the two of them without as much information in the past, except for the key stuff that you really needed, because that propelled what was happening in the future. Okay? So, yeah, it ended up being like the twist at the end. I didn't see it coming at all. I kind of thought I had guessed it, and you think that it's the right guess, and then there's a twist. Okay, so I didn't see that coming at all. And I really like the character of Alex a lot. Okay, because you don't get a ton of her in the first book, Blonde Identity, of course, because it's her sister's story, right? So this one deals with Alex's feelings towards her sister, and her sister always being sick when they were young, right? Because her sister had the heart problem. So there's a lot of that is in the past part, which I think was great because you get kind of more insight into their relationship as sisters, and they are identical twins. Okay? So, yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and I thought how it kind of tied the two of them back into the story at a certain point. That was really interesting. So, yeah, it was well written. This did not have another reason why I think maybe I marked it down a little is because The Blonde Identity had more of the romantic comedy feel. This didn't have as much of that. I didn't think so. Okay? The other thing that with both The Blonde Identity and this one, there is what I would call sexual tension, but you do not ever get any on-page sex. So I gave them both like 1 spice, 1 chili pepper, because there's talk of it, there is mention of it, but there is no actual it on page. And I actually like that in both of these. Okay? So I enjoyed that very much. And I did really like it. I highly recommend both books. Thought it was great. And this is the 3rd book of Ally Carter's that I read, and I would absolutely read another book by her. 100%. Okay? That one. Okay, next one is Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. So I gave this one 3.5 stars. I did like it, but I thought it dragged out. And so first off, it had too many characters, like to kind of get a feel. It took a while to get a feel for who all these characters were, right? So what you have is you have Eleanor Dash. She is your main character. She writes thriller mystery books, okay? And then her main character in the books, one of the main characters is a guy by the name of Connor Smith. Well, she wrote that character around a real Connor Smith, and he basically is like almost started off blackmailing her from the beginning. So he's been in all the books, and she actually wants to write him out of the book. Well, there's that. But then he comes to her in the beginning. So they are at kind of like a retreat in Italy. Okay. And he comes to her right at the beginning, and he basically says, somebody's trying to kill me. And she's like, come on, like she just doesn't kind of fall for it. And as it evolves, they don't know, is somebody trying to kill Eleanor? Is somebody trying to kill Connor? Is somebody trying to kill some of the other people that they're with? Because they are with about 8 different authors, I think, that are all part of the same publisher. So that happens, and there is, of course, a death, a few deaths in the book, obviously, and all of the twists and turns, and they do all kind of tie into something that happened in the past. So, I don't want to say too much about it. I thought it was really good, but again, I thought it got a little confusing in certain parts. Again, because there were so many characters, and you're trying to get familiar with who all the characters were. Like I would say by the 50% mark, well, maybe not even 50%, maybe like the 35% mark, 1/3 of the way through. And then you're kind of getting on to the role of who everyone is. So by the 50% to the end of the book, you're totally with it, okay? So that's sort of why I marked it down to 3.5, okay? And I can say, I'm going to say, because the second book is in the second batch of the summer cast, and I've already read it, and I marked it considerably higher. Thoroughly enjoyed it, very, very much. So this as an introduction was really great. The second book was better by my standards. Now I want to read the third book. Like I really want to read the third book. So anyway, that was this one. Even though I rated it 3.5, I would still recommend it. Okay, so yeah, because I thought that the plot and story itself, like especially from 50% onward, was fantastic. And I loved the way it ended. I loved the twists, okay, of the ending. I thought that was fantastic. So yeah, would highly recommend. Okay, so the last one is Getting Old is Murder by Rita Lakin. And I gave this 3 stars, so it was the lowest rating out of all the books that I read. It was a perfectly acceptable, cozy mystery. So here's where I felt this suffered, but not enough that it put me off continuing on, because I'm already past what the problem I had with this book, which was kind of similar to this. This one was actually worse, and that was the too many character syndrome. Okay, now this is about a bunch of people who live, a bunch of seniors in a senior living area. So just to give you an idea of the characters, this is the first page of the characters, okay? And this is the second page of the characters, okay? So, and then this is actually really great, because this was super helpful. This gives you kind of a mapped out of the 2 main buildings. I think there's about 5 buildings in this complex, seniors complex. But these are the two main ones, okay? And it shows the names of all the people who and where their apartments are, okay? So they're all on here, which it does. That's really important. And I actually referred back to that a few times when I was trying to get a feel for where everybody lived. Okay. Because there are quite a few older people who meet their demise in this book. Now, the biggest problem came with trying to get a feel for all the characters. Again, halfway through the book, and you're then into the main core, which is these 5 older women, which is headed up by Gladys, who is kind of your Gladys Gold. She's kind of the leader. They call them Gladys Gladiators. Okay, and there's these 5. They're hilarious. The 5 of them are hilarious. Okay, like there were points, like I will say for comedic relief, that there were points where it was funny. The point where they're arresting the person, okay, this is what I tagged this off, because this is the point where they were arresting the person, and it was like Keystone Cop type thing going on. And there's the one detective who has come to make the arrest, and all the seniors, and they're all trying to, because they're mad, and they're trying to mob this person, and they end up all falling down, and then they end up getting away, kind of, and then Gladys Gladiators are like there, like making this fenced off area, and they think they're going to stop this person, and she just like bowls through. Oh my God. It was the funniest scene in the entire book. Okay? Yeah. So I gave it 3 stars. I did enjoy it, but it was hella confusing in the first half. It was like, who? Huh? Who? Yeah. So, but I think that will not be an issue. So it's another one of those ones where, like this one, I read the first one and then I read the second one, no more issue, right? Because you now know who your key characters are. So I actually really want to read the second one now. So I will be getting the second one, and I will be reading on for sure, because I enjoyed this. I just didn't enjoy that part. So 3 stars. So that was it. Okay. So those are the 5 books that I finished for the first round of Summer Chaos, and I'm already well into my second round of books. So the third video, I have actually picked all those, okay, and I'm going to film that video, and that video is probably going to go up in a week or so that you're going to know exactly what's coming in behind the second batch, which I think that video was last week, the end of last week. So, yeah, because I'm almost through all those books. I think I'm reading the last one out of those 5. So, there's 5 or 6. Can't remember exactly how many. Yeah, there's typically most of these are 5 or 6 is what we're ending up with in the TikTok TBR. So, really, really great. Anyways, that's it for this batch. I hope that I've encouraged some of you to read some of these. And if you have read them, love to hear what you think of them. And also, I would ask that you like, subscribe, and share, because that helps the channel grow. And that's it for this video. And I will see you in the next one.